The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We've got a great show for you. Lots in store, and of course, hockey will be on the agenda, just not right at the start because of baseball playoffs and other things of the like.
Boy.
Toronto Blue Jays taking over Canada. And of course, our good friend here was in Ontario. Unfortunately, couldn't get tickets to the game out in Toronto, but glad to have Andrew Brethauer nevertheless.
Yes.
How was the time?
Not long enough, but very long being there. But yeah, great time being home. Family loves watching the show. Big fans. So
we should probably
That's what we
wave
hear.
to your family.
big fans to, yeah.
All right. Well, the other person waving beside Andrew is, of course, Nahreman Issa with New Cap Sports. Glad to have you on.
Hi, thanks. I was promised the co-hosting gig today, just an FYI, and then he came
At
back.
least you're better than Bart. What a plug.
We'll make sure we let Bart know that. I'm sure he'll have a good laugh as he's sitting at home smiling at the show. But nevertheless, let's get to the topics at hand. Let's talk about those Toronto Blue Jays. How about them? You know, this is a team that looked like they were dead in the water after 2 games. All of a sudden, the bats came alive. Pitching was well with Estrada. Throwing game 4, you had both Cy Young winners in there to complete the job. Jays have now tied up the series. I have to ask you this, and Nahreman, we'll start with you. The Jays are back in it, heading home to game 5. Are the Jays in the clear, or should they still be worried about Texas?
You can never say you're in the clear. Anything can happen. It's the playoffs. Did anyone think they were going to be down 2-0 in their series? No, right? I do think that momentum is on their side. When you've won 2 straight, and then you're
Marcus
coming
Stroman,
back home.
who's been the best
Yeah.
pitcher, I think, in the series.
Oh, absolutely. When he did
That's
his
gotta
job,
be a clear
he did
win,
his job.
right, though?
I don't ever want to say clear win. Like, unless the entire starting lineup for the Texas Rangers went down with illness, then I'd be like, oh, well, yeah, we're looking at 90% now. You can never say this is a for sure win. But I will say this. It was a little scary in the first 2 games. There's a lot of people who were like, the sky is falling. No, it's not. We're okay. Like 2-0 down, fine. But what was scary was just how quiet the Stars were, because you're so used to every time you see, Encarnacion, Donaldson, Bautista go up to bat, you're like, oh, well, here comes a home run. Like and if you don't see one, you're kind of like, oh, So when you didn't see anything the first 2 games, you're just like, okay, not to freak out just yet, but this is where the Stars are supposed to shine. And then you had guys like Colabello, who I joked about must have had money on the game because he was all over the place. But it was just so great to see games 3 and 4. The Stars came out.
The Jays look like the Jays, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we knew. Yeah. They crushed home runs, and they were in a home run friendly park. They had the pitching when they needed it. They're good.
Now they have to go back home and do what they couldn't do.
Can they win at home? Can they win Marcus Stroman on the hill?
I think they can with him on the hill, but I'm worried about the bats. They are not coming alive in Toronto. They were terrible, beyond terrible. Now we'll go with the umpiring in that second game, whatever.
Game
but
2.
Still, your best 4 players going 2 for 22 in a game 2 situation. When you're already down 1. You're going to get rid of that. Okay, give them the first game. They got the nerves, Toronto nerves, whatever.
Second game was a strike zone could not see for the life of him.
But it's just, I think you got to, I don't know, I'm worried about game 5. I'm not saying the Jays are great. You won 2 games in Texas in a home run friendly park. Now come back home and do something you haven't been able to do since 1993, win a playoff game in Toronto. That's the biggest question.
Yeah.
That place is going to be sold out and going crazy. Now you have to do that.
And they got another afternoon game tomorrow, 2 o'clock our time, so it should be fun to see how that one will play out. How about this? Major League Baseball, Joe Torre, who's a bit of the disciplinarian, decided to suspend Chase Utley for pretty much the remainder of the series for the 2 games. Then it was appealed, which means Chase Utley could play. Yesterday, not necessarily the most friendliest of terms, going to New York, where you're the most hated man. But if you look at what Chase Utley did in that slide in Game 2, how was he not suspended?
Oh, no, absolutely. For Tejada to have a fractured leg for no reason, and he didn't even go anywhere near the plate. It was not, if you watch the replays, he was nowhere near second base. It looked like he was going for the leg. He knew he wasn't going to get it, and it's funny because Todd didn't even have He didn't even have his foot on the plate. It was all together. It had to be done.
Yeah, because he stepped away from the bag and he spun around. So when he did that, was Chase Utley in the wrong for? Because it's a baseball slide. We know baseball how it works. But with all the concussion protocols, with all the things that happened to Buster Posey a few years back, that resulted in the change in the way they revolutionized the way, I guess, the way they would go at home plate, right? You don't see his home plate collisions anymore.
You just saw Donaldson getting nailed at second in the head by Neat. But the thing is,
that was in the plate.
Yeah,
that was
but
within
that's
the play because he was still in the front.
Utley's slide was not good.
Should Utley still been
it's
a
the same thing
suspended?
with Donaldson, though. Where's Donaldson's suspension? It's the same thing. And why this is still in baseball, I can't wrap my mind.
Well, first of all, I don't think he should have.
But Donaldson was actually attempting the plate.
Because I think you
nowhere
could
near
still.
the plate.
I think
But
there's
this is a
still
thing
that
in
limit where you
baseball.
could try to break up the double play. Yeah. But what Utley, I think, did was completely different from Donaldson. Was Utley was a good foot away from the bag.
Oh,
You had the player away from the bag. When he's away from the bag, and his foot is planted, that has a good chance to end up. You have a good chance of being hurt. You don't brace yourself as much, especially when you're trying to turn and spin and throw that ball.
But
that's where Utley went wrong.
Yeah.
I think Donaldson was just trying to break up a play, and it was one of those things where the guy braced himself because he saw him sliding in, and it was just one of those incidents.
You know, Kershaw said that he feels the MLB was pressured because the uproar on social media. But it's kind of like something has to go. Like if Tejada wasn't seriously injured like that, maybe potentially it could have been one game or, like a Warner or something like that. But the fact that, the series is done for Tejada to begin with, I think that who knows?
This is, okay, well, for this segment, I want to talk about the wildcard teams and who would advance. You look at Houston taking the AL champions, the defending AL champions, Kansas City, I guess, to the distance. Nearly won it if it wasn't for a silly governor saying congratulations to Houston when they were only up in the 8th inning. I guess he forgot to watch the rest of the game where Kansas City came back to tie it up. But then you have the Chicago Cubs, a team that I thought would have gotten swept. Congratulations, you make the playoffs. You're taking on the Cardinals. And it's the Cardinals. They're always great in the postseason. All of a sudden, Cubs are up 2-1 in the series. What do you make of this? And more importantly, who has the better chance of getting out of this matchup?
I go with the Cubs. I think they're up 2-1 at home, and to close out, you have to win one game of the last two. Now they're going the other way. You try and beat the guys who were runners up last year in their own ballpark in Kansas City, and you're going to try and win that. I don't think Houston has a chance. I think you had your chance. Thank you, Governor. That's pretty much what it was. You're going to try and beat the second best team in baseball last year, and arguably one of the best teams in the league this year, in their own park in a one-game playoff.
KC's not losing. Here's the thing, we could talk about momentum. To be able to come back with that inning that they had to get 5 runs, was it?
Yeah,
Seven,
they're
5
a team
runs
that made it
that
to the
8th.
World Series. They're not going to flake and fall out of.
Home records, they are ridiculous at home. They have Houston's road record is complete opposite to what KC's home record is. KC does not lose at home. They're like 80 and 50 or 30 or something like that. It's a ridiculous number for KC, whatever it is, 60. I can't do the math. But yeah, KC's. This is why I'm on TV.
Hey, you know what? This thing is turkey legs, and maybe this is a turkey brain thing.
Yeah,
We're coming back from Thanksgiving. So I think that's one of the things.
I had 3 Thanksgiving dinners too this weekend, so I'm tired.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to take a commercial break and recharge those batteries and kind of digest the rest of the turkey and the stuffing and the rest of those. We got more Gloves Are Off coming up in just a bit.